The foundations of public trust in the Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, were shaken to their very core this month. A significant scandal has erupted within the Bulican 1st District Engineering Office, leading to the immediate removal of 10 of its ranking officials. These individuals, who were entrusted with safeguarding public infrastructure and funds, now find themselves on floating status, which, is a term that signifies a temporary removal from their posts while a thorough investigation is underway. This decisive action, which took place just a few weeks ago, signals a major crackdown on alleged corruption that has plagued critical infrastructure projects designed to protect communities from natural disasters. The officials, including 2 district engineers and various section chiefs, have been asked to justify their actions or face severe consequences. At the heart of this controversy are serious allegations of so-called ghost projects, public works that exist only on paper but have been fully funded by taxpayers' money. The relieved officials, from the former district engineer Henry Alcantara to his successor Bryce Hernandez, and the heads of key departments like planning, construction, and quality assurance, are now under intense scrutiny. The very people tasked with ensuring projects were built to standard are now suspected of masterminding a scheme to defraud the government. This development sent shockwaves through the province and the nation, raising alarming questions about how many other such phantom projects may be draining the country's coffers, leaving citizens vulnerable and cheated. The scope of the potential fraud is staggering. Reports indicate that the Bulican 1st District Engineering Office, under the leadership of the now relieved officials, was responsible for managing an astonishing 28 separate flood control projects in 2024 alone. Each of these projects was allocated a substantial budget of 72 million pesos, bringing the total sum under their purview to a figure well into the billions. The investigation must now painstakingly review each of these contracts to determine the extent of the irregularities. The sheer scale of the funds involved underscores the gravity of the situation and the immense responsibility that now falls upon the investigators to uncover the complete truth behind these alleged schemes. This is not merely a case of mismanagement or administrative oversight. It is a story of profound betrayal. The officials were given just 3 days to respond to a show cause order, a formal demand from DPWH Secretary Manuel Banoan to explain the glaring discrepancies discovered in their projects. Their explanations will determine their fate. If their answers are found wanting, they will not only face suspension, but also the full weight of the law through formal administrative and criminal charges. The government has made it abundantly clear that this is a zero-tolerance issue, and the path forward for those implicated appears to be fraught with legal battles and the potential for severe penalties for their alleged breach of public trust. The catalyst for this entire affair was a personal visit from the highest office in the land. On the 20th of August, 2025, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. traveled to Baliwag, Bulacan, to inspect what was supposed to be a completed flood control project. The project documents detailed a 55.7 million peso, 220-meter-long reinforced concrete river wall, a vital piece of infrastructure designed to protect the local community from the devastating effects of flooding. Such a structure should have been a reassuring symbol of government action and protection. However, what the president found on the ground was a far cry from what the official reports had promised, setting the stage for a dramatic and public exposé of corruption. Instead of a formidable river wall standing guard against rising waters, President Marcos was greeted by the sight of a flimsy, unfinished concrete fence. The structure was pitifully inadequate for its intended purpose, representing a blatant failure to deliver on a critical public works contract. The stark difference between the documented project and the physical reality was undeniable proof of a massive irregularity. The project, which had been awarded to a contractor named Sims Construction Trading, was now the epicenter of a national scandal. The president's direct involvement turned a local issue into a national headline, highlighting his personal commitment to tackling corruption head-on and ensuring that public funds result in tangible benefits for the people. This shocking discovery in Baliwag was not an isolated incident, but rather the confirmation of a worrying trend. It bore a striking resemblance to another ghost project that had been revealed during a recent Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing. In that case, a 192.9 million peso flood control project in Naujan, Oriental Mindoro, was declared 100% complete in official records, yet a subsequent verification found that no such structure had ever been built. This pattern of deceit suggests a systemic problem within the implementation of flood mitigation programs, where accountability seems to have been completely abandoned in favor of illicit gains, leaving communities defenseless against the very disasters the projects were meant to prevent. The fallout from the presidential inspection was swift and decisive. In the wake of the discovery, and to ensure that the district's essential operations were not completely paralyzed, a new officer-in-charge district engineer, Jason Jauko, was appointed on the 11th of August. His immediate task is to restore order and integrity to an office now mired in controversy. Meanwhile, the private contractors involved, such as Sims Construction, are also facing severe repercussions. They could be blacklisted from participating in any government projects for a year, or, if found criminally liable, could face a perpetual disqualification, a move designed to weed out dishonest players from the public works sector for good. The dramatic events unfolding in Bulacan are the direct result of a promise made by President Marcos during his State of the Nation address in July 2025. In his speech, he issued a stern warning to all government officials and contractors, declaring that the era of impunity for corruption in flood control projects was over. He revealed a shocking statistic. A review of projects since 2022 had found that a staggering 60% of them were riddled with irregularities. These included contracts with vague or non-existent project descriptions or multiple geographically distant projects that mysteriously shared the exact same contract price, a clear red flag for potential collusion and fraud. The president's SONA was not just a speech, it was a declaration of war against the corrupt practices that have long undermined the country's infrastructure development. He put everyone on notice, from high-ranking officials within the DPWH down to the private contractors carrying out the work. The message was unequivocal: accountability would be enforced, and those found to be misusing public funds would be held responsible for their actions. This strong stance from the nation's leader has galvanized efforts across government agencies to scrutinize projects more closely, and has empowered oversight bodies to act more decisively when irregularities are suspected, as seen in the swift action taken in Bulacan. To transform his words into tangible action, President Marcos launched a new digital platform to empower ordinary citizens in the fight against corruption. The website, sumbongsapangulo.ph, which translates to Report to the President, was created as a direct channel for the public to report any suspicious or questionable flood control projects they observe in their communities. This initiative fundamentally changes the dynamic of public oversight, turning every citizen into a potential watchdog. It allows people to share photos, videos, and detailed descriptions of projects that appear to be substandard, delayed, or non-existent, ensuring that anomalies on the ground can be quickly flagged to the highest levels of government. This new reporting mechanism is a crucial tool for promoting transparency and holding public officials accountable. It bypasses layers of bureaucracy and potential gatekeepers who might otherwise suppress complaints. The website serves as a clear message that the government is actively seeking the public's help to police its own projects. By encouraging this form of civic engagement, the administration aims to create a climate of fear for corrupt individuals, who must now contend with the possibility that any citizen with a smartphone can expose their wrongdoing. It is a modern approach to an age-old problem, leveraging technology to foster a culture of integrity and public service. The scandal in Bulacan serves as a powerful reminder of the critical importance of integrity in public service. Government officials and contractors are custodians of public money, entrusted to use these funds for the betterment of society. When that trust is broken, the consequences are far-reaching. It is not just about the money that is lost, it is about the essential services and protections that are denied to the communities who need them most. The ghost projects in Bulacan and Oriental Mindoro are stark examples of how corruption can leave citizens exposed to the very real dangers of flooding, turning public funds into a source of private enrichment rather than public safety. In response to these events, organizations like the League of Cities of the Philippines, or LCP, have voiced their strong support for the investigation. Led by San Juan Mayor Francis Zamora, the LCP has called for a comprehensive review of all flood mitigation programs nationwide. They are advocating for greater transparency in the bidding and implementation processes, as well as stricter accountability measures for both public officials and private contractors. This collective call from local government leaders underscores a growing consensus that systemic reforms are urgently needed to restore faith in our public works institutions and ensure that every peso allocated for infrastructure is spent wisely and honestly. Fighting corruption is not a responsibility that rests solely on the government's shoulders. It is a collective duty that involves every citizen. The launch of the sumbongsapangalo.ph website is a formal invitation for the public to become active participants in this fight. By being vigilant and reporting suspicious activities, ordinary people can play a crucial role in preventing fraudulent schemes from succeeding. When communities are engaged and watchful, it becomes significantly more difficult for corruption to thrive unseen. This partnership between the government and its citizens is essential for building a culture where transparency and accountability are not just ideals, but everyday practice in governance. Ultimately, the battle against corruption is a fight for the nation's future. Every peso stolen through a ghost project is a peso taken away from building a better school, a safer road, or a stronger defense against natural calamities. Ensuring that public money is used well is fundamental to achieving sustainable development and improving the quality of life for all Filipinos. The decisive action taken against the DPWH officials in Bulacan must be the standard, not the exception. It is a necessary step towards building a government that is truly of the people, by the people, and most importantly, for the people.